This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, America. I'm Charles Gibson.
I'm Diane Sawyer, and it's Tuesday, September 11th, 2001.
Other than that, it's kind of quiet around the country. We like quiet. It's quiet. It's too quiet.
We have some planes. Just stay quiet and you'll be okay. We're turning to the airport. Nobody move. Everything will be okay. If you try to make any move, you'll danger yourself and the airplane. Just stay quiet.
Apparently, a plane has just crashed into the World Trade Center.
Oh my God, another plane has just hit. Oh, another one just hit.
I think we have a terrorist act of proportions that we cannot begin to imagine at this juncture.
2 airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country. Terrorism against our nation will not stand.
Good morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning, Kristen McQuarrie, she of the Chicago Tribune editorial board, and of course today is the 16th anniversary of the 9/11 attack. About an hour and 39 minutes from now would be when the first plane struck the first tower, and then 17 minutes later the second plane in the second tower. And it was interesting, Kristen, just in terms of people remembering where they were at, thinking about the victims of 9/11, thinking about how that changed our country 16 years ago. A friend of mine texted me a picture yesterday of the tribute in light. You know, the 2 beams of light going from the ground to the heavens. Yes. in commemoration of the Twin Towers. And he and his wife's sister was murdered on 9/11. And please, when you're talking about the victims, make sure to say they were murdered and not killed, right? Language matters. We talk about that all the time in the show. They were not killed. It was not an accident. They were murdered. So his wife's sister was murdered on 9/11. And every year, he's in D.C. in Florida. They are, he and his wife. Every year, they go back to New York City to remember her and to remember what happened. Talk about, providing some perspective on an annual basis, in addition to the perspective 9/11 should provide for all of us. And the thing that he said that was interesting to me, in addition to that, was he sent this picture around to a lot of friends just to remind them, to help kind of encourage perspective and reflection among his friend group, myself included. He said it was amazing to him how many people didn't recognize the picture of the tribute in light. Kind of how soon we forget. So it's important to commemorate this anniversary and to pause for some reflection. And there are many people who do many great tributes to the fallen. One of them, and this has been around for some time, but for some reason it just bubbled up to my awareness, TruePatriotsCare.com, they do this cool memorial, and it's a traveling memorial, where they have a flag for each victim on 9/11, and actually the story of that person, a story about that person on each flag. So that's such a cool, all the memorials and all the services are great, but I thought that was such a cool thing, not just to remember the raw number, the incredible loss of life, but each individual human being and a little bit about who they were. It's a really cool thing. And so on this anniversary of 9/11, we're pleased to be joined by Jerry Christopherson, who is the president of the True Patriots Care Foundation. And again, the website, TruePatriotsCare.com. Jerry, thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to be with you.
So just give us a little bit of the inspiration for the memorial, the tribute that you and your organization decided to do for the 9/11 victims. How did it come about?
Well, much like you, I wanted to always remember that terrible day 16 years ago. Excuse me. And so we partnered with a fine group out of Sandy, Utah called the Healing Field Foundation. And with their help and stuff, we were able to purchase flags, and we lay out the fields, and we put, like you say, we put the names of every victim and a short bio of their name, where they were that day, and so on and so forth. There's 2,976 flags set up in Oak Brook. They're all 3 by 5 foot flags on 8-foot poles. Each flag's exactly 5 feet apart in each direction. And like you said, they have the names and the bios of everybody in alphabetical order. We also add ribbons to it. The yellow ribbons are for the civilian casualties. The red ribbons are for the firemen. The blue are for the police. And this year we added 28 white ribbons for the 28 members of the flag crews.
And yeah, you mentioned it. This is at the, I should have mentioned that, the Oak Brook Polo Club, the polo fields out in Oak Brook. How long does that memorial stay there?
Actually, it ends today.
Okay.
We have we're honoring our local first responders this morning, and then after that, the people can come and pick up the flags that they purchased and take them home and fly them proudly.
So tell us about just putting this together. I'm only looking at pictures, and it's overwhelming and just breathtaking to see. So what is the process of actually setting this up?
Well, it takes a while. We worked over the Labor Day weekend getting all the equipment and the flags and everything there. And then on Labor Day, a surveyor joined us. It's all volunteers. It's an incredible group of volunteers that help. So the survey came out, and if you'll notice on the pictures, in the center of our display is an 80-foot perfectly shaped star, which he helps lay out, and then he helps get us the square corners. And then we drive in rebar, 3-foot rebar. We drive in 8 inches into the soil, and then we set the flags on that. So we had at least 60 volunteers there last Tuesday when we started setting up, and we actually got all the flags and the rebar installed in a little over 3 hours.
How many years have you been doing this this memorial, this traveling tribute?
This is our 8th year, and it's the 3rd time we've done this scope of one. We did one on the 10th anniversary, one on the 15th anniversary.
And
the chief of police of Oak Brook was at our tribute last year in West Dundee, and the following week he contacted me and asked how we could get the flags to come to Oak Brook. We met with the village officials, and it's been a year in planning, actually.
And so there were nearly 3,000 people killed, and like Dan said, you have a little card attached to each flag. Is everyone accounted for in terms of doing a little research and being able to tell a story, or are there some people that you were unable to find their story?
No, every flag tells a story. Yeah.
How did you pull all of that information together? That's a lot of legwork.
Well, that's where our friends at the Healing Field Foundation helped us with that research. They actually did the research and shared it with us.
I wonder what you think. This is on my mind. The day after opening day at the NFL, there was a demonstration outside of Soldier Field supporting Colin Kaepernick, and I just wonder, on this day, in this moment, what your thoughts are about protests and people not standing for the national anthem.
I wish I wasn't on the radio, and I would really tell you what I think.
We'll hit the cough button. But really, since this is such
perhaps what he is protesting, needs to be looked at. But protesting against our flag, and which really is all the soldiers that have fought to defend that for the last 200 plus years. That's just wrong. We shouldn't be doing that.
Well, that's why I like the story of each individual on the flag, because it's a combination of the two. Every American, right? I mean, that's the story of every American. And so when you salute the flag, it's not just saluting and respecting the military and first responders. It's respecting every other American who ostensibly believes in peaceful pluralism, just as our founders did, who ostensibly opposes persecution and understands the kind of the beacon of liberty that is this great idea of America that our founders did, or at least they should be called to consider that when the flag is presented. And so it's more powerful than just respecting those who died in service of the flag and in our liberty. It's also about every American. That's why I think the artistry of your memorial is so interesting and different.
Well, thank you. It's we couldn't do it without. I have an amazing board of directors that helps us. We're a 501c3 nonprofit charity. We don't charge. If people would like our tribute to come to their town, we never charge to come. We live off of the generosity of the patriots that are out there, and it has worked very well for us. No one gets paid in our foundation, and we just replace the flags as we sell them, or if they need to be retired. Last year we retired all of them, and that cost us over $45,000. So,
wow.
But it's no matter how many times we do it, I get tired, but not really tired. And when you see all those flags flying, you can only smile.
Jerry,
what a great country we're.
Jerry, give us the details on today at the Oakbrook Polo Field if people want to go see this memorial, and then what the schedule is, if there's a continuing schedule in other places around the country, or if you know the schedule for next year.
Okay, today's tribute starts at 9 o'clock. We're located at the Polo Grounds, like you said, just east of the library in Oakbrook off of 31st Street. You'll see a big tent. We have a stage set up there. Today we're honoring the local first responders for what they do, in memory also of the 403 first responders that actually went into the buildings and got so many thousands of people out of the buildings 16 years ago. So that'll start at 9. It'll probably last around an hour. And then after that, we start winding down to people that have purchased the flags in the last week. Will be coming and picking up their flags, and we'll be rolling up our flags and putting them away for now. In 2 weeks, the True Patriots will be in Des Plaines. The Wall That Heals is coming there, and that's the Vietnam tribute to Traveling Wall. And we'll be putting up 1,620 flags. That's so many POWs and MIAs that still have not returned from the Vietnam War. And each one of those flags will have an oversized dog tag on them with their name and branch of service. So that's what will be next. Next year's program is still being. The only place I know will be right away is we partner with the Gary Sinise Foundation at the University of Notre Dame.
Sure.
That's, I believe, is going to be the first Saturday in April. But that'll be on our website shortly.
Great. That's great. Talk about never forget, a tribute to POWs from Vietnam. Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Jerry Christopherson, president of the True Patriots Care Foundation. For more information, the website, truepatriotscare.com, truepatriotscare.com. The True Patriots Care Foundation in conjunction with the Healing Field Foundation, and 9 o'clock in Oakbrook at the Polo Fields if you want to see their memorial this morning. Jerry, thanks so much for joining us and for what you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You too. And he joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.